Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here from ArtPlace.ca. In this video, which is the book of backgrounds, it's number 3. We're going to be creating a background on this, and in the previous lesson I created this one and let the paint go onto the back, and this inspired me. And what I'm going to do with this one, the theme, I'm going to be still using those misters, but I'm actually going to be using them to paint with. And I'm going to be doing some smushing, and I want to continue on with doing some collage work. And I found some old recipe books that were really damaged. Joe's mom gave these to me. These are really old, and I was inspired by a lot of these little advertisements, and I thought I would use these in the artwork, not so much as an actual advertisement, but as an enhancement piece. And I know I want to get the Edie Smith one. The Edie Smith is still there. Joe's grandfather actually had a farm and had fruit, and he actually sold the fruit to Edie Smith. So this is going to be kind of special. So I've got just some really old pages, and here's another one that's really, really old. And what I have, I have a box of old, oh my goodness, old books and stuff, and a lot of these are found at the library, which are ready for destruction because they're just too old, or Value Village, and which are donations, and I use these for collage pieces as well. Now, I know some of you are absolutely against the destruction of books. I don't look at this as destruction. I look at it as upcycling. I've got some of these books that I will never read, and they've been sitting, I know with the way Value Village does their pricing when stuff just doesn't go, and then I will just upcycle it to something else. That really inspires me, the gold foil on that. So this is Shakespeare, I believe. Yeah, Shakespeare. And the book itself, this particular book itself, I don't believe is that old. Yeah, this has been reprinted a gazillion times, but it's gone yellow, the pages. Old newspapers and old library books that are gone bad, and this is the actual spine from the book of backgrounds I did in 2014. I use this to create scraping things. It shouldn't be in here, but I use this to create markings. I'm gonna put this over here. Oh my god. Okay, so I've got that. I've got my old papers. I pulled out a stencil. I kind of like this brick stencil. This won't be the feature, but it's just to create some texture in the background. And speaking about texture, so I've got my handy dandy little container here. Now on my IKEA shelf, my IKEA trolley, I've got all these containers filled with stuff, and I have to Mia proof them so she doesn't get to them. So a lot of times I don't even see this stuff. And I was moving it this morning. I forgot about this. So I've got all these different scraping tools, and even pieces of wood that when Joe was creating some cabinets, and my expired license, and what's this, expired health card. Not expired, but just it's old, the new ones. These scraping tools, old credit cards that have expired. So I thought I would use we'll play with those. And I thought I would get a brush that I actually had pulled out these 2 brushes, and I thought, nah, I'm too comfortable with that. Let's have some fun. So let's use this one. I got all these really neat brushes in here. Put that aside. Chaos is giving herself a bath, so she shouldn't bug. And for the mister colors, now I've got them all laid out over here, and I'm going to be working with the yellows, orange, I believe that's all there is, and let's see, take a red. Okay, so yellows, orange, and red, and I've got some fluid acrylics. And to decoupage this, I'm going to be using the Americana Decoupage, the antique one, which has a tint to it. So I'm going to be using that. And I got my Mr. Bottle. All right, so let's go. on my no stick mat, I'm going to be putting the actual paint on here with the mister, and then I'm going to turn the paper over and I'm going to smush it, and we'll get a really interesting background. I've also got my brush bucket here. Take the lid off, and I've got my trusty number 8 Bristle Bright and my glue brush, palette paper. So nothing's changed there. And this is going to get messy, so I've got paper towel on the ready. I'm going to start off with the light. So that's already plugged up. That's already plugged up. That's interesting. I love that yellow. And the orange is plugged up. Oh yeah, that's really thick. And let's get some red. I believe the red is plugged up as well. Yeah. We're in another day for a heat wave, and I'm doing this video early enough so we shouldn't have any issues. Let me just throw in some of this one. Okay. Now I'm going to take some water. Spray that. And I know what's going to happen here. It's going to really be thick. So put it down, press, and I'm going to lift it up first before I actually smush it. I like actually moving the paper. And if you don't want to ruin whatever's on the back, just put low tack masking tape on there. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And I don't like to waste anything. I'm going to take another journal and that's way too much ink. That'll make for a nice journal spread. And this is how you get some really cool backgrounds, is you just use up what you've got. That side to dry. And if I wanted to make some collage material that was already tinted, I could take, I've got some scrap pieces already cut up. I'll just randomly put them down, covering up all the ink. And it'll be really random. And they'll be ready for something else. Okay. Now let's put these aside to dry. Oh, that's got a lot of... It just creates some really interesting patterns and shapes. I don't like to... I like to use up... So instead of just wiping it off and putting the paper towels in the recycle bin, I just like using it up. I know at one point, if I... paper towels that were like used to clean up the mat couldn't be put into recycling. Now I can. There we go. So I'll just put all that stuff aside. That's had a bit of time to dry. So I want to put some, I'm going to put another piece there. This is just basically, I'm going to create a little bit of a reduction. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the paint. And, okay, where did you go? There you are. Put that aside. And let's see what else. Oh, you know what? Hey, let's try this. All about experimenting. Instead of doing the brick like this, I'm going to do the brick like this. Let's see what that happens with that. So then instead of wiping it off, let's just use some paper. And we'll just do that. I'm not realizing, am I going to get a line? No, not so much. I don't like pressing here because I don't want an actual line, hard line appearing. Romeo and Juliet. Oops, one more piece. And all of this makes for great material. Experienced journalers will call that fodder. That's kind of interesting. That's interesting. And I've got these little pieces I already cut. I like using these little pieces for ATC backgrounds. Just picking up the excess bubbles of paint because that will dry funny. I like that pattern, so I'll leave that there. All right. So I'm going to put this aside for a sec. And I'm going to get another journal. So I've got this big Midori style book, and actually I don't know if I will be able to, if I have anything left on here. Not so much, but now that I'm thinking about it, I have to kill time while the stuff dries anyways. I'm not going to bother taking them. Actually, I'll take these papers out. That's an actual... And... I'll be able to fold, you bugger. Find something. Let's see. I'll put that one on an angle. And just press it down. Well, I think the stencil slid. No biggie if it did. How cool is that? I like that. I like that. You never know what's going to inspire you. And it's not about making something pretty, it's just about experimenting. That's the whole thing about the book of backgrounds. It's experimenting. And if something works, fine. If something doesn't, even better. Because then you can use that opportunity to upcycle. Upcycle your background. And don't forget that the book of backgrounds is simply that. It's just a background. We create art on top of it. And sometimes the actual art is in the background itself. I'll have to really let that soak. All right. Yes, I should go clean my stencil. No, I'm not going to bother because I'm in a groove right now. So while that thing is drying, we're almost ready. I'm going to tear some pages, not these ones, prepare some of this because we're going to have to paint them. So I know I want this one. And I don't like clean torn edges. I'm going to actually use the whole thing because I can always cover it up. If you tear the paper away from you, you get more of a exposed edge on it. And this one here, I'm going to take transparent what? Transparent yellow iron oxide. I wasn't sure I want to use the red. I just want to basically stain this. And I forgot. My matte medium. I want to make that paint really transparent. So it'll also strengthen the paper. And once you put your palette knife in there, make sure you wipe it off because that stuff is super strong. And I'm just going to stain the paper. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this, and this is just the method I'm using right now. Because this paper is so thin, the matte medium will just make it a little bit stronger. And yes, I am going to be collaging it. That's usually when the paper tears. Oh, I picked up something there. Oh, I've got paint still left in my brush. All right. And now I'm going to repeat that with transparent red iron oxide. Make sure you shake your paints before using them. Oh, we got some wind. Getting this video done before all the air conditioners have to go on. We're going to hit 39 again today. And this is starting to dry, so I'm just going to put a little bit more medium in there. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of fuzzing this out right into the piece using a circular stroke. Hopefully I don't get too much in the way. Uh-oh, chaos just woke up. Like I said, there's a bunch of different ways of doing this. This is just the method I'm using right now to do this one. Experiment. If you're always using a certain brush or certain colors to age papers, use a different brush and use a different medium just to see what would happen. What if That's the question. What if? And I'm just going with some transparent yellow iron oxide again. I can already feel this paper thickening up. And then what I always love to do is just distress and just create that dry brushed look. Well, the paper has to be dry to do this though. And yes, I should use a heat gun. I don't want to use a heat gun because of it gets hot. Hydro is already too expensive. All right. Liking that. Make that really. I love the grunge look. If you don't like the grunge look, then don't do it this way. It's your piece. And don't forget, this is just a background. It's likely that you're going to cover this up somehow. I'm already inspired by this now for what to do with a background is to do some type of fruit-based or wine-based piece. All right, I'm going to put that aside. Now, what to do with all this stuff? Well, why don't we take some little pieces and just have the stuff ready. These make, like I said, these make for great ETCs. You don't even have to cover everything up. That way, everything's ready. Well, what happens if you just put that down there? That's a nice stain right there. And I've got the, above me, I really should do a blog post about the studio. Above me, I've got, Joe built me this filming contraption, and I've got PVC piping above me, and that's how I dry my pieces. I use binder rings and to hold everything, and I think we're pretty well done. Brush in the water, put this stuff aside. Now, anything with matte medium, make sure they don't overlap or they're going to stick. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to clean my mat, and then when we come back, I'll start doing some collaging. So I've got, that's about the layout that I'm going to work with. Paper towels over here. That should be enough, I think. That should be enough. And if I get some of the collage material on the actual background, I don't care. It'll just create more texture. All the brush hairs are coming out of this thing. I think it's time to get a new brush. I was using my soft grip brushes for this, and it reduces the lifespan of the brush. I mean, they're inexpensive brushes to start off with. And the kicker was I did it with a brush that I really liked and I didn't clean it right away. Like this medium, holy smokes, it's like really strong. And it gets in your fingers, so that's what annoys me. Okay, that's what I'm gonna look at doing. And use this and this just really seals everything in the middle and work outwards. And this is why I use the medium, the matte medium, just to strengthen the paper so it wouldn't tear. You can use an old credit card if you want, whatever you want. Now I'm going to add another coat of this. It's going to dip right in there. Everything's dry. And the thicker you use this, the longer it'll take to dry, but also you can get some really neat textures with it as well. So this will take a long time to dry. And especially here where it is right now, it's extremely humid, so that makes it even worse. But then while it's drying, I usually just work on something else. I work on something related so I don't lose my mojo. Okay. Get some nice texture on that. Speaking about texture, what would happen if we use some of these tools? Just created some lines, because this is going to be almost transparent. Or you could do it like this, almost like chicken wire. Speaking about chicken wire, I do have a chicken wire stencil. Oh, one thing I like using, bubble wrap. Yay! We have to send a package up to Harrison, who's deployed to Alert Nunavut, which is like almost at the almost at the North Pole, and we're sending him a massive box of stuff. And I haven't told you I have bubble wrap. I thought, oh, we have to buy some. All right. So let's leave that, and I'm going to clean up now, and when we come back I'm going to start doing a little bit more painting with the Mister brushes, the Mister paints with the large brush, and that'll set this background in place. So this is all set now, and I'm going to do something with those two. I'm not quite sure what yet, but all right, so I want to do some color mixing. Orange, and we don't actually have a blue, so if I took orange and purple, which should make some type of brown, and a little bit. Looking for something a little bit more. They're opposite on, there we go. They're opposite on the color wheel, so it works out quite nicely. And some shimmer, some yellow. do is put that down and then get some paper towel. Should have had 2 of these brushes. And then just fade that out. Think of it like a watercolor. Now there's bubbles coming up. That means there's a bit too much water. And I know what's going to happen. Oh, you know what effect I really like? If I take it from the, I'll do it from the bottom because I don't want to change the top. If I get paint that runs. I love runny paint. I love runny paint. Sometimes you just need a little bit of water to get it going. And because we have the medium on top of that, you can actually wipe that out. And this creates some really interesting texture. Because the brush picks up a lot of the moisture. I'm just going to blot up the excess. Ooh! That's kind of cool. There we go. We'll have to see what happens with that. And yes, I could have taken all this excess, put it into another journal. I don't have any more drying room available. What can that do? That's the big one with the little one. Let's see what that does. Where the ink went on the Terraskin, the Terraskin without the matte medium, it actually stuck to it so that the dripping pattern stayed. And now I'm gonna actually just let this dry for a little bit, and then I want to do another spray, and then I'm gonna darken the edges a little bit. I want to use something as a mask. And I can think of a bunch of little pieces of paper. Actually, this one's better. With no hard edges. This actually isn't going to be collaged on it. It's just going to be used as a mask. You can stop at any time. I just want to see how far I can take this. Ooh, this would make for a really, really neat background right there, just collaging all that stuff. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be spraying the mist, and this is going to protect, well, not really protect, it's going to create an interesting pattern. Now I want to use something strong for this. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? magenta. Let's go into my, there we go. And that's it. Then we can take all this stuff. This will dry very quickly. When I was letting this dry in the previous break, came back to chaos sitting in the box of all the book paper. So you can use that as well. And if you do this and you don't like what you've got, just upcycle it to something else. Oh, created an arrow. There we go. And I'm going to use my bristle bright for this part. Paint that. I love that look. I love that look. I'm thinking strawberries. What would happen if I just did it here? Oh, okay, now I'm off. The video was going to be finished, but now I'm off doing something else. And I'm just going to dry brush. I'll be able to do this as long as the ink is wet. I could reconstitute it with a little bit of water, but that will just take away from the randomness. That is so flippin' cool. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be inspired by strawberries from this one. Now you can't, can you? Let me see if I can. I'm going to see if I can put a little bit more of this red here. Don't know if you can see that. The scrape lines by using the tools. And then here. See that it's got a shine. There you go. The bubble wrap on the paper. You see some of the scrape lines there. Oh, there's a really good one there. There you go. That one there. Cool. Yeah. So this is going to inspire me for some. Oh, I love this. Strawberries. Now, if I take a little bit of water, what would happen? Yeah, that's what I thought. Reconstitutes it a little bit. Sunlight. Where's my shimmer? Sunlight. I'm thinking sunlight. Right on. What do we got in the bottom? Oh, I can put that on there. So now I misted the yellow on the mat. I took the other side, and then I'm going to push it down. Because it's going to transfer. I use paper towel? Yeah, I like the grunge look of the paper towel removing. Look at that, those lines. That is so neat. So definitely being inspired by sunlight now. Sunlight and strawberries. Put that down. Do the same thing here. The color that was on there before, it's starting to smudge because it's being reconstituted. If you use the misters and you want to actually seal it so they don't smudge, if you use a brush on medium, you're probably going to end up smudging it. You can also, although I'm not a huge fan of anything aerosol, you can use a sealer, like a matte spray on this. I myself would use Spectre Fix. Let me just reach it over. Oh, pastel fixative. It's also used for pastel, pencil, all this stuff, and this is non-toxic. And I would just use that. There we are. Ta-da! So this background, it's already inspiring me. Sunlight, strawberries, emphasis on I may even collage, if I can find a photograph of Joe's grandfather on here, that will make an actually a really nice piece. And these are all used for jump off points to inspire formal pieces of art. Now where I'm stuck is I don't have any more of this, and this was key to the idea that I had of creating something maybe featuring Joe's grandfather, the property that this farm was on, the property that we would like to buy to build our own house on. So this was the focus, but I don't have any more of these. So if that happens to you, consider what's on the back. Is it important? If it's nothing that's really important, use this as your jump off point for your formal piece of art. Okay, and forget the back. Or you can build one of those turning frames, and you can have like it's a piece of glass. It's like a frame. Think of a frame with just glass on both sides. Then it sits on a stand, and that way you can see both sides. So you can do that as well. So this is going to be a nice piece. Alrighty, so that's it. So I hope that this gave you some ideas of techniques to try. You painting with misters, using medium to create a resist, how to age paper, how to dry brush, and just by scraping stuff. So I hope you got a few techniques in there. So create your background. Don't even copy this. Use your own interpretation. Copy the technique. Do whatever you want. Just create some type of background. And I will see you in the next lesson.